to see that the car was out of service, because he turned around and looked at me and said, "Did you know your car was out of service?" I said, "No." He said, "You need to get it taken care of." Okay, great. There was like a blue light out on the deck. And there was like one blue light out on the deck. He said, "You need to get that taken care of." Over the course of the next couple of days, between school, my wife, and my kids, and work, because I failed to put that part in there. I'm back to being a full-time student now.
Oh, right.
So all of these things combined, yeah.
What you going to school for?
Study your religion.
Cool. At Tech or?
And psychology at Liberty. So it's been just one thing after another. Man, I'm keeping my house afloat.
I just wanted to make sure.
So, well
obviously,
right
your home thing is
bullshit.
I'm just grabbing this pen.
But
I
your
like
home, I just want to make sure, that's your business, but I just want to make sure you were good, because I know, and I straight told him, note that. I said, that's not Will. I said, Will's always got his stuff put together and you know.
Will ain't happy. No,
I know.
Will ain't happy.
I know. But I just wanted to make sure that, or see if there was anything that
And this right here, while we're on the
could
topic,
make it better.
and while we're on the topic, this right here is bullshit. This shouldn't even be an investigation. This is something that should be taken care of by somebody else. You know what? The dude, well, can y'all even tell me? Was he fired? Did he resign? What was it?
Mendenhall?
Scotty? I don't know. I wasn't here when all that happened. I think he resigned.
I think he resigned, tried to come back, and then they told him that wasn't a good idea. It's because it was like and this is just from memory, I'd have to look it up.
Was that Tina's case, or was that yours?
That was Tina's. That was Tina's.
That was before I was down here, so I don't know.
That's some bullshit.
But I think I thought I heard that he resigned.
Because I remember him, because we talked about this later, I remember him coming in the office, like wearing a suit and like a coat and tie or something, and he was upstairs. And this was after everything was said and done. Because I remember thinking, what's he doing up here in a coat and tie? And the sheriff wasn't here, and so he went and saw the chief. Is the last thing I heard about it. But then, you know, I was friends with him on Facebook, so right after that I just didn't feel comfortable. So I took him off my Facebook page. But the last thing I saw was that he wasn't going to be in law enforcement anymore, that he was heading to Charleston for something. To do something totally different.
I mean, you know, so
I was wondering if you said you heard he bought a house. You know how he bought a house when he didn't have a job at the moment.
I mean, this kid, I mean, you know, I don't know anything about it. The times he and I didn't necessarily get along, but we weren't. It's not like we hated each other, but he and I he did things. You do this job long enough, you can pick out the ones who are a little bit questionable. People don't pop up with ounces and ounces of meth on cases like that and that from the road without, oh, I stumbled across this. Shit doesn't happen. I mean, his paperwork's fucked up. Everything else is jacked up as a nine-eyed nanny goat. No. You tend, yeah, nah, but you see these things. I mean, you can kind of pick these things up, and even though you can't put a finger on what the problem is, and the way I got brought into all this shit was that the guy that was working on my side of town was present when he did whatever he did on the south end. He calls me and tells me this. He said, "Man, I got something I need to tell you." He calls me and tells me the story, and I said, "You got two options." I said, "Number one, I said you can keep it to yourself." I said, "Number two, I said you can go talk to a sergeant about it." I said, "Those are your two options." I said, "But option A, I said if you keep it to yourself, I said I'm going to be the one to go talk to a sergeant about it." I said, "Because you've put me in it now." I said, "And now if something happens and I know about it, I'm in as much trouble as he is."
Yeah.
I said, "And be prepared to reap what happens if I go talk." I said, "Because you're the one that's going to get bit too." So later on that morning, he goes in and does whatever he has to do. After that, that was it. They never called me and asked me any questions. They never brought me in and talked to me about it. Dave Bryan wanted to talk to me about it, but I didn't want to talk to him about it. So I didn't. That was the end of it.
Yeah.
You know, so this kid, and I've heard, and I've been hearing for weeks now, that this kid, and I think the last thing was, "I will pay for what I did to him." That was said.
Who said that?
And we'll keep that in line until all this happens.
Sheriff's gonna ask me.
Yep. Well, when he does, he can ask me.
Who?
Because I'll tell you something. I have turned down 2 jobs in the last 6 weeks.
I remember we talked about that too.
And let me tell you something about I didn't tell you the funny part. I about threw up in my lap when I found out how much they were going to pay me. $87,000 a year working for Shea Galls in Virginia.
Shea Galls.
In
You
Virginia.
know Shea, yeah. Working for USAA up in Virginia in Chesapeake. I almost vomited in my lap when I found out how much they were going to pay. You know who got the job?
Who?
Eric Lewis.
Eric Lewis.
Really?
Yes, not the same Eric Lewis you know. Eric Lewis got the job.
So if you're willing to move to Virginia,
He picked up the phone and called me when he got the job and said, I just wanted to tell you thanks. I said, for what? He said, I heard you was looking into the job up here. I said, yeah.
was
And-
Eric still working down there?
Yeah. And I said, yeah. And he said, well, man, he said, you know, that's where I'm from. He said, I picked it up, man. I appreciate it. I said, man, it ain't no problem.
Doing
I
what?
said, investigations for USAA insurance. And I said, how much? I said, I'm just curious. I said, how much? Because I had been told 60,
Yeah.
65.
Yeah.
I almost threw up.
But you're
in
not
my
going
lap.
to take your family up to Virginia?
For $87,000 a year, I'd move my family to Antarctica.
There's not too many Walmarts in Antarctica.
Oh, yeah, but the price of living up there is a lot higher than here,
it
too.
is. It was $1.2 million for the cheapest price we could find in Chesapeake.
God.
And that's why we didn't take it.
Mhm.
But that's why I didn't take it. But that was all that was right there. So you
Well, I'm
know,
not trying to get y'all riled up, and
well, I mean, this.
I know
this
things
thing's
get you pissed off because it would, you know, and I know you're tired of coming up in here, especially after all that Bravo crap.
Yeah.
So,
fucking dogs, the Bravo.
oh
thing.
yeah.
I mean,
So,
this is
and
getting
I
old.
know I'm not trying to get you, but you know when it's brought to our attention, we have to ask.
I don't understand, but you won't. Here's my.
And you
my-
know that we know that there's 2 sides to every, or 3 sides to every story.
Yeah.
You know, so
Exactly.
that's why we want to get your side of things.
Who said this? Who told you? What's his face?
It's just
Scotty.
been- it's
Scotty
just been-
complained.
Who told me that Scotty complained?
Yeah.
I just assumed
Oh,
that
okay.
Scotty had complained
Oh, I
because
thought-
they were
okay.
calling around.
Okay.
So I mean, I figured, I'm like, yeah, this dude's filed a complaint, and my assumption is
Yeah.
that he filed a complaint, and I knew almost immediately that Stan Whitten or Reagan Marlin had to be involved in it because they are the only people that I know that I know Gary Brown. So that was my assumption.
Mm-hmm.
So and those are the only 2 people that I know of that took Scotty's termination or resignation or whatever happened with him personally. You know, so you know, I don't know, whatever, man. You know, I didn't have shit to do with it.
Yeah.
So the only reason, and I'm gonna tell you,
Was
the
this
truth.
recent when somebody said that, relayed to you that he had made comments about how he was gonna take care of you and all this?
Yeah, it's been recent.
Was it a deputy that said this to you?
I don't know if they were a deputy at the time or not. Really. I mean, I'm gonna be perfectly honest.
Who was it?
Because, you know, we have to report everything directly to the
Yeah.
sheriff. And the minute we tell him, he's gonna be like, well, who was it? And then we're gonna have to come back and ask you and find you again.
Man, if you'll give me a minute and just let me be comfortable with it, I will tell you who it was. Will you give me that? Will you give me about 15 minutes?
Yeah.
If you'll give me 15 minutes, I'll tell you who it was. But
Yeah.
I'm not gonna throw anybody under any buses until all this shit.
Well, they were just relaying the message to you, right? That what they had heard?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I'm just not.
I mean, and you know me. This is just you, and this is just us talking. I'm not gonna sit here and browbeat anybody. You and I are friends.
Yeah. And I understand that he's gonna ask that question, and I will give you an answer to that question. I will give you an answer to that question, but just give me a minute
No.
to make that phone call first. I just don't, you know, I don't move on
No, that's fine.
to me.
Yeah, you're fine.
So
Um.
that fucking pisses me off, man. The more I see her think about it, the more it just pisses me off.
You want to
So-
take we've been in here. Are you done with that part?
Man, I'm fine. I'm good.
Okay, I didn't know if you want to take a break, get some
Break?
water or something like
Okay.
that. I had to go pee because I was going to wait until the break, but good lord, that coffee was
Because
running
we've
through me
all
like
been
a
drinking
champ.
14 cups of coffee.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of jacked up right now. I've had so much coffee this
And
morning.
you know, we've been nonstop up in here since Friday.
Yeah.
with all that went on. So, so just to summarize this part.
And you're summarizing. And you're summarizing, correct?
Yeah, I'm just summarizing to make sure it's clear for me. Everybody knows that you were trying and needed to go to Echo for personal reasons. When you talked to the sheriff on the phone when he called you
the second time, yeah.
And he said, give him until
the 17th.
He said the 17th.
Yeah.
Because that was the beginning of a new pay period.
Yeah.
And he said things will be taken care of then.
The new pay period, when he talked to me, the new pay period would have started on the following Monday, which would have been, what, the 2nd? Or, no, the 4th or something like that.
And that's when you were going to the class?
And that's, no.
Okay, sorry.
When the sheriff called me back, and we talked, and he said, when the new pay period starts, I said, are you talking about Monday? And he said, no, the following pay period, the 17th. And that's how we ended up with the 17th.
Okay.
So that's where the 17th came from.
And just for his words were that he just said everything will be taken care of.
Mm-hmm. Because at that point,
that you needed or whatever.
Yeah, whatever, it'll be taken care of. Get you where you need to be. Something to that effect. I don't know exactly.
But he didn't say you're going to start on Echo on the 17th.
He did not tell me I was going to start on Echo on the 17th. No, he did not.
Back to the Sergeant Lane issue.
Okay.
And like I said, he was not the complainant by any means. This came up during some other parts of this when we were asking about the whole other stuff. Is there a deal between, or did you think there was some investigation going on or something? Or do you, we've already talked about how you feel and y'all's deal, you and Sergeant Lane. There's no history, but y'all not going to exactly go have a beer together. Is there an issue with Dallas, Sergeant Gladstone, at all?
Absolutely not. Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
I know absolutely nothing about Sergeant Gladstone.
Okay.
He's a new sergeant, and that's all I know.
Have you ever said anything about taking Sergeant Lane down and taking Dallas with you?
Hell no.
Okay.
Man, this is some bullshit. Fuck no. I didn't say anything like that.
Okay.
I never made any comment about taking anybody down.
About, like, when all this started.
You mean physically or like
No. Like in here.
Hell no.
Like if something were to happen to where you go.
Now it makes sense.
Or get.
What's that?
Now it makes sense. I got a phone call the other day. Some dude was running his mouth that I had been in OPS for 2 days, writing statements on people.
Who said that?
Some kid on the fucking south end. I don't even know who it is.
Now, you talking about
yeah. Now I know. Now it's starting to make sense. Now I'm digging it. All right. Now I know where that came from. Now, okay, go ahead.
How do we find out who
I'll find out who it was. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll find out.
There was, in other words, if when everything was going on, like we said, the issue with the write-up about the car not being serviced, all that crap, and you not knowing if you're going or staying or all that. In the midst of that, I don't know if you thought something was under investigation in here or anything like that, but it was kind of like, if something happens to me, I'll be sure and bring them down with me.
Absolutely.
Not physically hurt them, I just mean...
I know what you're talking about, absolutely.
The way it was portrayed to us as if,
No.
gonna make sure that...
No, I never made that comment. I never said anything even remotely close to that. As a matter of fact, just the opposite. I said, I told a guy one day, Sergeant Lane and Sergeant Gladstone were talking to 2 kids about something that they had done on the north side of the county, and I told them both. I said, when they came back and told me about it, what the conversation entailed, I told them, I said, listen, I don't agree with what they're telling you. I said, but you do what your sergeant tells you to do. This is my opinion, but I'm telling you, do what your sergeant tells you to do. Matter of fact, it's been just the opposite.
And I know that
That's
this is
bullshit.
the whole reason you've been frustrated, obviously, since you told us now that was why you've been not happy around here. And this is the kind of crap you're talking about, and I understand that.
This is
I
kind of
understand
bullshit.
that. And
Bullshit.
just to clear,
You don't want to have to know.
just to clear the record, it was not Dallas. Dallas has no problem with you whatsoever on this earth. You know them. He would hardly say a bad word about anybody in this whole world.
I ain't got a problem with Dallas either. I ain't got a problem with him. Matter of fact, Richard has just been. It was funny one morning because we were talking, and even though his personality and my personality aren't the same, and we don't necessarily get along, we've been to lunch together 2 or 3 different times. And
I think Dallas is one that can get along with anybody. He's
Well,
pretty mild.
Richard and I have been to lunch together a couple of times, and we talk about everything under the sun. Now when it punches 29 minutes and 59 seconds, we're back on the clock, and that's Richard. So be it. That's his personality. I don't have an issue with that. And I've said that several times. I may not agree with what he says or does, but he's the sergeant. That's his business.
Yeah.
It was. I called him one morning and I said, listen, I said, I'm going to have to go home early. I said, because the kids are sick. I said, Amy's sick. I said, I'm going to have to get home. She's got to go in and put sub plans in place, and she had to be at the school at like 6:30 to do that. So I had to leave at like 6:15. I went home, and then other arrangements were made. Somebody could watch the kids that morning, just briefly. So I picked the phone and called him. I said, listen, man, I said, I don't need to go home this morning. It's covered. And he said, are you sure? He said, because if you need to go, you need to go. And I was shocked that he was like, so, yeah, take care of what you need to take
Well,
care
they've
of.
all told us that during this, and to clear it for you, obviously we can't get specifics, but nobody on your shift had anything to do with this. This came from up above. Like I said, this was something that Captain was handling, and once it was told to the higher-ups, they wanted us to handle it. So that's where it came from. As far as a specific person that
Man,
you
that is
work
some
with, no.
bullshit.
But you know, when we have an investigation, we have to call people in and talk to them.
Man, that is
But-
some bullshit. Man, that's fucked up.
Yeah. And I don't want to add to you. Obviously, I know I'm going to add it to it now. Because that's why you haven't been happy, obviously. But I knew that just the little things that Sergeant Lane was having to deal with as your sergeant, it was very out of character for you. That's why I talked to Nate and talked to Tina about it. Because I said, that's not Will, something else is going on. So,
Man, that's some fucked up bullshit. Oh well.
but,
You okay?
Yeah, man, I'm fine.
I don't want you to go,
Don't tell me don't go away mad, because you know that's...
I know, but
That's going in one ear and out the other.
you know what? You know how many times we have to call people in here, ask them some stuff, and they're like looking at us like we're freaking cross-eyed. I mean, you know.
Yeah, but
it's
how many people
but-
come up in here and sit down with 15 fucking years experience? And you got captains and everybody else looking down saying, well, you know what, we don't have enough to ask him, so you go ask him. Fuck that. Come ask me. I will tell you what happened. I have never sat in this room or any other room in this agency and lied to anybody about anything that has ever happened. And I'll be damned if I'm going to start now.
The main thing that was brought to our attention initially was this whole the Scotty thing first, and then
It's funny
how
it's
you
been
ended
done.
up getting almost transferred, but not really when there wasn't a personnel order and all that. So that's what came to us initially.
We'll wait till the end of this investigation, and once everything's cleared, then I'll make whatever decisions I need to make. This is fucked up.
And you know, it's just Laura's job to unscrew
I'm
it.
not mad at anybody in this room.
Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do.
And I don't want you to be at Sergeant Lane. Sergeant Lane spoke to us because we had to call him in here to talk to him. Because his name, he was not the complainant.
I don't talk to Sergeant
No.
Lane now. I'm not talking to him later on. I mean, it's just one of those things where I don't have to talk to him, and he doesn't have to talk to me.
Okay.
So, I mean, you know, we're not. Man, this is bullshit. This is fucking bullshit.
It's just allegation. When it all boiled down to it, and I know it sucks.
Apparently somebody needs to shine my shoes.
Let's take just a quick break. So
Take a potty break for me.
yeah, you need to take a potty break. And Will can call who he needs to call, and then we'll get you out of here.
You good?
Yeah, let me go get my phone in my car.
All right, you're cool. You sure you're good?
I'm fine.
All right.
Can I just have one of my guns back while I'm
Hmm.
Please do. Please do.